Hey y'all, it's Rom, y'all, coming back at y'all with yet another car video. Ultimately, every man must develop his own game. Ultimately, you know, I know there's guys called dating coaches or whoever online telling you do this and do that with women. But yeah, you can listen to them. But ultimately, you got to develop your own thing. And I've even said that for myself several times. I said, yeah, go out and find out if what I'm saying works for you. If it don't, it just don't. But even no matter what I say, you still have to find it for yourself. Even body game. Because unlike some dudes who be trying to promote body game, you got to have one body, which is stupid as shit. Everybody got different bodies. You got to find out what works for you. For some dudes, being lean works for them. For some dudes, having some meat on them works for them. You got to find out what haircut work for you. You got to find out what clothing style. And even with shoes, you got to find out what shoes work for you. Everybody can't be wearing like some Jordans or something like that. And shoot, really, it goes beyond that. Because I'm known for talking about a tribe. Every man got a different tribe. Damn, how many cars that woman got? That young girl got? Yeah, nothing. Yeah, I'll let y'all wonder. Anyway, right? Everybody got something different. You got to find what works for you. I've had a couple times where some dudes said they were trying to talk like me and all that. They ain't me, though. In body size, everything ain't me. Because I got a different tribe. I got a different body type. Different type of women gonna respond to me. Just like different type of women gonna respond to you. Ain't no one size fits all. I'm gonna let this dude pass here. Yeah. You gotta let people pass sometime. Everything ain't gonna respond. Shoot, everybody living in different areas. Shoot, people different races. Even within the race, there's different social classes. Like, I'm not gonna appeal too much to like some ratchet women. I'll probably be considered corny. I don't have any tats or anything like that. But somebody who like is tatted up or something might appeal to them. In fact, my co-parent, she does a little bit of teaching. She does some teaching at her area. She does some teaching at a local school. I ain't gonna mention the school, but she was saying everybody be coming in there looking ratchet. She said they don't be dressing up, be wearing like pajama pants all over, men and the women, right? And so somebody who's going to like appeal to like somebody who's going to that school, shoot, they probably got to look a little ratchet and stuff. But then when I think about the school my sons went to, you got to dress up a bit more. It's different. And I've heard some other people in the area say that. It's like, different types and everything. You gotta say, okay, what's going to work for you? Because everything ain't gonna work for you. Like some dudes need to look clean cut. Some dudes need to look more roughneck. It depends on where they at, their environment, everything like that. And really, it's just like I always use the example of basketball. Everybody don't have the same game in basketball. You get some players, they can hit a three-pointer all day, but they can't take it to the hoop. Meanwhile, you got some other players, they can take it to the hoop all day, but they can't hit a jump shot to save their life. Some players, they might not be good on offense. They might be like Dennis Rodman. They good on playing defense and getting rebounds. That's it. But they winning. Everybody got a different game. You got to look at it like that. Like, you can't have the same look that I have. You got to figure out what look work for you. Now, I can talk in general. Yeah, I can talk in general, but like, Let me use body game once again as an example. Everybody don't have the same body. Everybody don't have the same body. That's why I say it's corny as shit when somebody say you have to be lean. Maybe them, but then somebody else might not can be lean. It depends on where you at. What part of the country are you in? What part of the world you in? You know, some parts of the world, yeah, you better have some meat on you. Some other parts of the world, yeah, you got to be leaner. In fact, I remember an article I saw. It was talking about, they used the same picture of a man, and they had artists in 19 different countries say, okay, paint him ideal. All of them didn't have six packs. Some of them, a few of them did. In fact, only a couple of them did. You know, they had different things to them. You got to say, all right, this where I'm at, this will work for me. In fact, ultimately, that's where you got to look. You got to say, okay, what's going to work for me? What's going to work for me? You got to figure out your own game. Even when y'all listening online, because at first I was going to just say something about online. Like when you listening online, you just listen. Including myself. You just listen, you take it in consideration, then you see what works for you. Because everything you say ain't going to work for you, because ultimately, I'm just going to talk about what works for me. Like, if you talk about women, let's talk about women. When I look at the women that I click with the best, they are what Master Teacher BGS would call 92 octanes. Natural 92 octanes, like those educated type of women. Like, people keep forgetting I got like 2 degrees behind my name. Yeah, y'all see me in a car video. I just grew up in the environment. Yeah, I can give you different shit. But when I look at the women, I get along with, they ain't those street type of women. They always like those women who probably ain't gonna have tattoos, who probably more educated and all of that. That's who I click with the best. Yeah, I've clicked with some other women on occasion, but still, that's the best. That's who I would deal with, you know? Like the women in my circle now, they all got some shit. They all got some shit. Attorneys and doctors and shit like that. Educators, professors, and all of that. That's me. But see, you, that might not be you. Like, say you blue collar. Ain't no shame in being that, but you might click with some blue collar type of women best. You know? You ain't, and see, me and you, we could probably get equal amount of women as long as we stay in our lane. Hence, that's why I always talk about the tribe. You got to see where you at, and you got to see what work. Even with body game, let me say that for a third time. Let me really, because I'm known for talking about body game, and you get some Bammers up here, and I'm going to use the word Bammers who think it's just one type of body. It depends on the woman, where you at. Shoot. Even a racial background. Like when I see women online, you know, really putting that butt out there, really working on that ass and shit, I say, yeah, they looking for some brothers. But if they trying to look all slim and shit, I say, nah, they looking for some white guys or something like that. And that might be where you at. You got to look in the mirror and say, okay, what do I do? Like clothing style. Like, let me give a shout out to Kevin, because you know how Kevin was. Kevin Samuels. May he rest in peace. Kevin will tell everybody, he was telling me some like styles he said it would be better for me because I got some meat on me and stuff. He was telling me some styles. He said, yeah, you'd be better off wearing this and that. In fact, any true to the game style consultant, they ain't gonna just give you some basic shit. If they doing if they go online, because you still got plenty of style consultants online. If they talking in general, they'll throw some stuff out. But if they doing an individual consultation, they're going to say, nah, this is what you need to be wearing. Nah, you need to be wearing this or that. You got to see it. You know, when you're talking about letting the barber bless you, you know, we got different size heads and everything. Isn't that everything ain't going to work on everybody? You know? Like that one style being shaved with a shaved head and beard. Bearded and balded. That ain't gonna work for everybody. Some people, hey, some dudes need to let it grow out. While some dudes like me, well, you know, I can't let it grow. Somebody say, well, you gotta let it grow out. I said, dude, God's starting to take a little bit away from that. I was talking with my barber the other day about that. You know? I was talking with my barber, and my barber was like, yeah, for some people it happens early, some people it happens late, some it happened not at all. But you got to find what works for you. Like if a guy start losing his hair early, all right, you got to shave that shit off and maybe have that beard, get that beard done. But if you get somebody else and, you know, like I got to give it to my mother's side of the family, the men who got that blood, their hair stayed on them. But I'm taking from my father's side of the family. Oh, well. And then when I look at my sons, I know one, he'll go bald. He'll go bald on a regular. The other one, he might have long hair all the way. So they got to have different cuts. All right? They got different body builds. You know, but they get what works for them and then see, it's all about what I always say. Find what works for you. Find what works for you and then find the women who like it. Like I talk about body game, your style, and you got to think about your social class, what social class you dealing with, and everything. Heck, I've noticed that with myself. I done said I get along better with like those educated women, you know, those high class women. But see, sometimes I notice when I let my hair out and something like that, I be getting some attention for my lower class women and stuff. Until I open my mouth, and they like, oh, they don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But you got to figure it out, because you also, one of the things you got to think about is, all right, what do you like to do? Are you one of those people that was like be going to political events? Because I remember back in the day, I went to a couple of events. It was just people just interested in politics, educated and everything. They were just interested in politics. But you get another group, they might not be that way. In fact, I had told the story several times. I went to 2 different parties. One was a pool party, one was a hotel party, back to back, right? Went to the pool party. It was more lower class. Every single woman had a little gut. Even the slim women had a little gut on them. Everyone had a gut on them. Looked like they had a baby, except for one. Thankfully, the one who invited me to the party, she was flat stomach, right? But then that was more lower class. But then I went to a party the next day at a hotel, none but Barbies. None but Barbies. All the women were like fit, flat stomached, all of that. Looking like a bunch of black Barbies and everything. So you got to think there's different groups out there. You got to figure out, all right, first who you are, where you trying to go, what your social class is, you know, what style appeals to them, and then you got to figure out, okay, where you going to go from there. Because even on that, you know, I love to watch that balloon pop show because it's the gift they keep on giving, you know. I remember this young lady came on there. I called her as soon as she walked out there, said she going to know with that dude. And that dude, he was an attorney. He was dressed up, all that stuff. Boom. So you got to figure out, it starts with you. It starts with you. You don't try to appeal to the women. You got to figure out which women going to fit into your circle. Which women going to cooperate naturally with your operation. You know? Which women down for where you going. You got to figure that shit out. But see, that you got to figure out yourself first. You got to figure out your game first. Like your game might not be able to be wearing those tennis shoes or being a sneakerhead. If you're trying to, the women that appeal to you best, you might need to wear those Cole Haan shoes or something. You know? You need to wear those better type of shoes or something to get them. They looking at that. And let me speak about shoes, because I'm famous for saying shoes to get your dick sucked. Women be looking at shoes trying to determine what social class you are. So you got to think, all right, I'm trying to get these women. These are shoes I need to wear. All right? If I wear these shoes, I don't look right. And trust me, women looking at you and they like, nah, something don't look right. You know, and you got to be comfortable. Whatever group you dealing with, whatever environment you in, that's one of the things. Because if you look out of place or something, it ain't going to work. You know? Like somebody who's more street, they not going to work in a more upper class environment. They can try, this shit ain't going to work there. You know, or somebody from a more upper class environment, somebody going to look right at them and say, okay, they street. You got to figure out all of that stuff. You got to figure out what environment you in. You got to figure out what was the best bait for the women in that particular environment. You got to know how to talk to the women in that environment. And the sex thing, well, and that's pretty much, you got to knock them out in all environments regardless. So, but even to get to that point, you got to get there, because you got to think, all right, what women you going to relate to? Not who they relate to, but who you going to relate to, because remember, the game is really within you. The game is really within you. You got to figure out, okay, what you going to do? What you like, what you looking like? You got to figure out, okay, these my clothes, this my style. And you know what? No matter what, stick to it, because this your world. Don't worry about it. Now, I can make some suggestions. Somebody online can make some suggestions. Someone who might work with you, they can make some suggestions. But at the end of the day, I don't care what it is. You got to figure out, okay, what works for you. And that's really what it comes down. What works for you? You know? What works for you? Like certain body type, you got to figure out what works for you. Like you don't need to be slim or lean or big or whatever. It might not work for you. It might not work for you in a particular environment. You got to figure that out. What clothes you going to wear? How you know what kind of haircut you going to have? You know, you got to figure that out for yourself. It's like, okay, this going to work for me here, but this ain't going to work for me there. You know? You got to figure all that out and then go with it. Anything I can give you or anybody else can give you, we can give you some general stuff. It's like if we're a basketball coach, we can tell you some basics. You know, how to dribble, footwork, and all of that. But you got to figure out your shot. Now, you can develop another shot or something, but you got to work on it. But you still got to be conscious of, okay, what's your money shot? What's your spot on the court? You know, what's your best shot? What's your game? Like some players, they playing basketball, some they can let the game come to them. Some they can force it along. Some people, you know, some dudes, they might have that nice handle. I remember this one player, he couldn't shoot for jack, but he had a killer handle. And that's how you gotta look at it. That's how you have to really look at it. You know, don't get caught up and don't try to be somebody else, because that's not you. Like I said earlier, I've had some guys, they try to say, well, I'm trying to talk like you and all that. Dude, that ain't gonna work for you. It works for me because I'm me. You gotta find what works for you. You can't be somebody else. I remember a woman hit me to that because I learned that back in college. This woman, she told me straight up. She looked me dead in the eye. She said, Ron, you can't be like him. You gotta be you. I was like, shit, she told me. And she needed to tell me. You know, she told me. So that's how you gotta be, man. Every man gotta find his own game, his own style, whatever. I can give you some general stuff. Like, once again, when I talk about body game, you gotta find which body works for you. When you talk about style, you gotta find what style works for you. When you let the barber bless you, you gotta find out what haircut works for you best. You know? You gotta find which group of women are the best for you. The ones that you click with the best. Right? Because who you click with, it ain't gonna be the same as me because we two different people. That's how you gotta look at it all. Yeah, anyway, that's how you gotta look at it, all right? So anyway, that's all I got for today, yo. Get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.